All right. Whoops. Let's go. A little bit late today and a little loud. Soften that since my the controls on my like literally everything. I can't control volume anymore with my keyboard. I don't know what's going on there. All right, we're good. All right, let's switch this on. All right, so let me take my, oh, we're in the melt one, okay. So what I'm looking to do today is, I always check to make sure to see if it's been fixed. Still doing the same. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. All right, so what I need here, I need these. I kind of want to do this way. I think I had everything separated too. I think I did. I can just actually come through here and delete it. I should have done a double. So this is going to be really easy because, and that's why I'm doing 2 comics today. I'm going to work on this one, and then I'm going to start work on the next one, which is going to be a little bit off of this to show. So every spring I do a spring bear good morning party. And that's because when Spring Bear wakes up, the flowers start blooming. She kind of ushers in spring. So what I'm going to do here is, this is going to be titled Melt. And I actually might make the title green. I just sent a note to my sister. All right. So this is going to be the stages of melt. I need to come in here, and I've got to erase all of these guys effectively. Which is going to be super easy because, there we go. All right. Now I need to do stage 3 and then the blooming stage. Oh, okay. I'm going to need to do a cough drop. Pardon me. Good grief. All right, what are our things today? Fire up those engines, get back in the game, be unstoppable, be resilient. I like that. Hello, my lady. Do you want to have a bite? No? Okay. Thinking about leaving the mat. And we will hope that her decision will be to stay. You look so sleepy. There you go. There we go. We have convinced her to stay. See, this is why I'm happy when I'm organized. Because it makes things so much easier to come back through and edit my frames. All right, so now I've got 2. I'm gonna go ahead and make the screen melt. All right, so I don't need, actually I kind of want to move all this up because melt is kind of small, but we can do that later. So Snow Company, let me go through the progression here. And when I was going back through my notes, I saw that I had, when I had done Snow Company and Stampede, I had made a note that it would be kind of cute to do a progression. So this comic right here takes place across these other two. It's kind of like snapshots, and then these two comics kind of happen. Well, of course, this one directly after Snow Company, and then Stampede is kind of right in here, and then we have time passing a little bit more. So we started off with Snow Company. And make sure my mic is on. I was like, is my mic on? All right. So in my series of wall comics, have my characters interacting with the wall, and in this case a floof came around and he saw the snow was piled up, and he decided to make a family of snow floofs right here with his other floof friend, and it made the wall incredibly happy. He had some company. And so then the next entry in that series was Stampede, and that was where Granny Bear and Boop come by, and you see the little snow floofs are melting a little bit. And Boop says, "Oh, GB, did you just get an idea?" She says, "Yes, I just had a marvelous idea for dinner. It hit me like a stampede." And then Boop says, "Let's get cooking." And they scurry off, and then you see this rumble, everything's shaking, and then this stampede of floofs is in hot pursuit. And then this the idea wall is just like hee hee, and so it's reinforcing the idea that the idea wall is always kind of omnipresent and providing ideas even if you're not really looking. So yeah. That was that one. And then while I was doing this one, I got the idea for the process of the melting. And I did this a little bit before. It was a spring comic that had, it was a how it started, how it's going. And I started with Coconut and Momo. They were building, snowmen. And they finished that. And then how it's going, the snowman is melting. And then you see the little sprouts and kind of springing up around him, and he's still kind of got a happy expression on his face, even though it's bittersweet that the snowman is melting away. So that is going to be a little bit of what we're going to see here. We're going to see the maybe I'll have the wall be a little warm and like cozy or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I do need to get rid of these guys. See, look at how... Oh, actually, you know what? Seriously? Oh. Okay, well, I'm going to say it worked better. Look at the dots. These old dots have it. Well, that makes me feel better, actually. So these old dots... Let me see how these... Yeah, all of these still... There still is a problem, but yeah, look at the dots. They all have a ton of anchors. It's just these guys don't have a lot of anchors. Interesting. But the dots do. That makes me feel better. So it's really only like the long... That's really interesting. So I never noticed that. But you know what? Okay, that's good, because that can provide a little comfort in that I'm not like totally loading down. I mean, that's ridiculous, but I can fix that. I mean, I can go all the way to completely smooth and it won't matter. See? It still adds all those ridiculous numbers of points. But Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, yeah, that's just, well, right here, if I'm going fast, it's okay. But if I go slow, maybe. I'm going to stop obsessing about it because it's not important. All right, so now I'm going to go in here and we're just going to have good. I did do this. I'm going to make that a little bit. And I think I'll probably just do another tiny, like just a little bit more melt of this as well. And these guys. That's the new snow, completely melted. And then let's do, I'm gonna come in here. I'm just gonna go ahead and color this. To the back. I think I can make one whole use for these guys as long as I stay in my lines. It actually worked. So the second comic I'm going to be working on after I finish this one will be EL. She's going to overhear Granny Bear and Boop talking about Spring Bear's good morning party. And, whoops, didn't mean to do that. I just want to cross my legs. And so it's going to be similar to the the popcorn night, movie night comic, where EL overhears GB and Boop talk about how it'd be nice to have like a movie night tonight. And so she goes and buys all the popcorn and the snacks, and she shows up with the floofs at their door, you know, ready to have a movie night. So it's another one of those where EL is kind of like, I'm casting her, she's doing villainous activities, but it actually turns out to be quite wholesome. So I really like this turn that I've crafted for her. I wanted to find a way to, to do a series of EL comics that would make a little bit more, not more sense, but that just could be a continuous entry into the different storylines that I've got going. And I think that one works pretty well. And so that'll be what I start next, because this is not going to take me that long. This next frame is going to be the snow completely gone, and the you know, the pots are going to start to grow a little bud here and there, and there's going to be leaves kind of blowing through like spring grass and stuff like that. So this should actually not be that complicated of a final scene to draw. It'll just I just gotta, you know, kind of do it. I'm really happy opening up those old files and seeing that some of that kind of quirkiness in the interpretation of my stylist putting down different points and stuff as objects, that bug, for a lack of a better word, was present in those to a lesser degree, but it was still there. So it's a little bit, yeah, I feel less like, oh my god, I'm creating a loaded file here. Hey Clint, welcome to the stream. I am just working on a Thursday comic. And this is an idea that I had when I was making the Stampede comic. I thought it would be cool to have a progression of these little snow floofs melting on the wall, and then spring as a way to announce spring coming. And then comic number 2 that I'm going to be working, or at least starting today, is a simple plan, and that's going to be an EL comic, but she overhears Granny Bear and Boop talking about Spring Bear's good morning party, and so she decides to grab a bunch of party supplies and help them set it up. And so that's going to be the second. I'm not sure if this should probably be Friday's comic. And then Monday, if I get it finished, I can do the EL comic. But getting that start in there. But I was mentioning, because I had to open up these old comic files to get the progression of the snow melt. And I noticed that some of my dots have that issue that I've been dealing with. See? But the difference is most of these regular strokes, they don't have an excess of points. So my smoothing still is not working, but it's not to the degree I thought it was, which is a relief to me because I know it's all up here. It's all up here. And I've been kind of not leaning away, but reluctant to work in Illustrator because of that. Despite, I have to work in it like every day. Anyway. All right, let's get this going. I've got to do a little snow progression here too. So we're going to do a little bit of snow left, but I'm going to draw it in the back of this pot because he probably does exist now that the snow is melted almost completely. But I'm going to just put a little, I'm saying this, I've got a cough drop in my mouth. Just going to put a little wee bit of snow in here, just maybe a boop. Just a small little boop. And then I'll just do a little touch of line art here. So I was getting, doing some prep work for the Vegas licensing show, and I was updating the website, and I changed the front page of the main site to have new comics updated always on the front page. And because I liked how it was, but there was just something that, just a little voice that always was like, just kind of chirping. And because when you hit the front page of the main site, it's never updated. I had hidden everything out behind the Read the Latest comic banner, which was really cute, but it's static. So nothing, if you come and see, what's, Be Cute doing right now? The front page doesn't technically update, even though it does update, twice a week. Back to that, hopefully very soon, with new comics. And so I essentially broke the site in order to fix the site, which is always frustrating because nothing irritates me more than website work. I don't like it. And so I always, drag my feet when it comes to needing to do it. And then of course I drag my feet so much I forget how to work certain plugins and code things, and so that led to me breaking the site before I could actually fix it. And it really isn't completely fixed because the way that I was initially programming the comic to appear on the front page, I never got that to work. But what I did was I took another widget. Now this is in WordPress, so it's widget and plugins, that based. I took a widget that was working, that I had used to display a thumbnail in the footer. And I was like, okay, well, this is working. Why don't I just take this widget, duplicate it, and put it up top and just have it draw a different image? And that worked. So that's how I fixed the site there. But it's still just interesting in that it exposed a problem. And the problem is that widget I'm using to serve up the webcomics on the website was, I don't think it was retired, but he's not developing it going forward. I think that tutorial base on GitHub. I believe it was GitHub. No, it wasn't GitHub. I don't know. But the tutorial archive was put in read-only mode at the beginning of last year. So it just kind of a little bit of heads up that, hey, you're going to have to be thinking about this and finding a different solution soon-ish. Which, not the best, but whatever. I'll figure it out. All right, so let's do a tiny little bump of snow in here too. Boop. Boop. And I need to draw the rest of my pot here. Which also brings me to the fact that I need to be on Webtoons, and I am on Webtoons. I just haven't been updating it, but whatever. Yes, please pick my brain. Give me something to babble about instead of the website, please. Whoops. Oh, still have that one in there. All right, let me fix this little guy here. He's got a little, not like he slipped out of his bounding box. There we go. And I used a different pot color here, so I'm just gonna grab this. Really, look at all this mess. All right. I'm gonna use this pot color, and I'm just gonna darken it, I think, on my saturation balance here. Because that's what we're gonna do. All right. Here we go. I want to start an online comic. If you had to do it all over again, what would you do? Ooh. I'm going to chew on that one for a minute. Well, I would have a few questions that I would have to answer first. And some of that would be related to, would be formulating a plan on where it's going to be published. So, and some of that has a little bit to do with what the comic is. So, for example, Webtoons seems to be very much heavy on chapter-driven plot and continuous storylines. I don't see nearly as many slice of life comics promoted on there as I do see like super romantic drama and just heavily almost literally graphic novels that have very deep long plot lines that strung out into chapters. That's a different beast than something like what I do, which is a page, pretty much a page of comic. It's self-contained, but the storyline does continue throughout the entire series. You see these little threads picked back up like the wall comics. So I would look at that first. I would say, okay, am I writing a continuous story about, you know, let's just take Lord of the Rings, for example. Am I making a Lord of the Rings webcomic that has a continuous story, an epic plot, lots of drama? I would look at that, and I would maybe weight where I'm going to publish it a little bit higher over on Webtoons. Like, so I would take my attention. You've got your cup of attention. And you can't spread this out evenly throughout all of these different social media. You kind of have to pick one and do it very well, and pour more of your attention into those one or two places where you think it'll do the best, or you get the, you've got the most attention on it. And that's specific to comics, because if you're looking at, growing a social media account that's like a travel blog or whatever, that's easily spread throughout YouTube, all of these different short video platforms. You got to do it a little bit differently. And again, if you've got a continuous story comic, I'm just going to call it a graphic novel versus like a syndicated comic, because the syndicated comic that's in a newspaper, it kind of has to stand alone a little bit, because like Garfield, you could read one Garfield comic and not, have to have information on either side of it. You could just stand alone and see, a cute Garfield joke in one comic. But if you read the whole book, you can kind of see how threads pick up and are woven throughout the whole thing. But something like, to a lesser degree, maybe Family Circus and Marmaduke and For Better or For Worse, those have plot lines that do arch a little bit more, but still they're standalone. So that's separate from something like a graphic novel where you're looking at a story that can stretch and characters that progress, multiple pages, multiple chapters. It's something that you have to have context on either side for. That could be potentially worked into short form video. What I noticed about a year, maybe more than a year back, I know it was about a year, Webtoons started flooding Instagram with these trailers for comics that are going up on their, that they're kind of promoting and pushing on their platform. And they were like, trailers for a book or trailers for a movie, or that took that static comic art and moved it as close to a movie and short form video as you could, still being comic art, and it got me to go to those comics and read the comics. And so if you've got a long form story, I would wait, where to go on Webtoon versus I'm going to push this on Instagram or I'm going to push this on TikTok. You can still do that, but you still, I feel, have to have a core, like publishing focus. And, a lot of that, I have a degree in animation, also want to start creating short animations with it. You kind of have to put all of your elements together, and it's a very different, and you hear a lot, and I've heard a lot of people comment on how they're moving away from social media because it's not content that you can control. It's a platform that you're essentially renting from someone else. And not only do you rent the space, it's not really yours, but you also have to pay for the attention that you get. You have to pay to play on Instagram. You've got to open the floodgates. You can't just have 1,000 or multiple hundreds of thousands of subscribers and, have your content shown to them. You have to pay for that now. And so that's why a lot of people have moved over to newsletters or Substack publication or website publication, or really even going a little bit heavier on their own controlled content verticals. And, that's something to be said, because all it takes is one hacker to, set their eyes on you and probably, break into your account and steal it from you or do whatever. And you've lost your audience. You've lost or, Facebook to have a brain fart and say, oop, we're shutting you down. And then you're gone. I had that happen to one of my freelance clients. She was a book author, and she had spent a good part of a year or more building. Hey, Ariana, welcome to the stream. I was a late start, so don't don't feel bad. But yeah, so, and then one day she woke up and her account was shut down. She had no access to it, and it just, I don't even think she ever got it back. And the only reason I noticed is because, I'd always see her in my stories, I'd interact, and all of a sudden she just disappeared. I'm like, well, what happened to her? And, all of the social media presence for her was shut down, and I had to go over and find her, remember her website, because I hadn't worked on that part, but a little bit. It was more logo work. Anyway, I had to go over there and find that she had kind of done a focus more now on blogging and a newsletter approach, because that was something she could control, because everything else had been taken away from her. And all this time she had spent building her platforms and, getting into Book Talk and Instagram books and all of those little communities for her own novels, it just was erased in a night. And that's something you've got to consider too. Even, you look at Webtoons, Webtoons still controls who they put forward and who they don't. I mean, they have the Canvas system, which is, independent creators not in any agreement with them. And they've got I forget what it's called, but they have the, what is the one where the creators, they're like promoted on Webtoons, they have an exclusive like deal or semi-exclusive deal where Webtoons promotes them. They're like, oh God, I forget what it's called. But anyway, you have that, but you're also signing away some of your rights. And, you've got, I think the Canvas creators don't get put forward as much. So you got to think about that. But I mean, and that was a long rambling answer that didn't really come to a point. But I think if I were to do a short answer, what I would do differently, and how I would start a comic right now in 2026, I would give myself a finite time to strategize, because you could strategize yourself into the grave and never start anything. The most important thing is to start, to get that comic written, to get it made, and, strategize a little bit, and you can always adjust later, but start getting it out into the world. That's the biggest problem, is you've got to start, and you've got to start getting it done and getting it written. And I think the question of where is, again, where are you most familiar with? Where are you already putting some of your time in? Where can you hook in perhaps to an audience that you have a little bit made already? And if you have zero across the board, then okay, well, just pick whatever platform you feel most comfortable with and most excited to post on, because I think that's another barrier too that can not intentionally make you stumble. But for example, I hate TikTok. Nothing can make me like TikTok. And that's, I have to force myself. I have to say, ugh, I have to post on TikTok. And that's a barrier. I don't have that barrier when it comes to Instagram. I fly on there, I put stories, I post Coconut, doing her cute little thing all day long, because I'm happy and comfortable and I like Instagram. I just don't like TikTok. So I don't reach for it. I have to force myself to. And that's a problem. And so you don't want to set yourself up with problems like that, especially when you're starting out. I would pick where you're comfortable with posting, start posting there. And if you always keep your mind open to different platforms. For example, Gary Vee is going pretty strong with his Comic V Friends. They're going really hard on Whatnot. And I haven't logged in. I need to log in and watch one of their shows, because Whatnot is a live selling platform. But as far as I can tell, they're just sitting up there drawing as they're doing this live show. And I'm guessing it's connecting up to some product that they do sell, but that's getting them a lot of traction. So I would create your comic, pick a home, definitely have a controlled piece of content vertical. So like publish on your own website, publish on your own newsletter, something that nobody can take away from you, that you can always hit send and reach everybody without any gates. Because those are what I consider content verticals that you can control, that you have absolute ownership of. You own your mailing list, you own your website. No one's going to say, hey, boom, unless, like for what, I mean, they can shut down your website, I guess, for, whatever reasons. But generally, you control those. You don't control Instagram. You don't control Twitter. But also, pick a couple of those out over here that you can also reach those audiences, because they have built-in audiences and they have reach, and they can help you build these ones that you do control. So I would formulate a plan, give yourself a time limit on making that plan, and then start creating and start going. Short answer that actually turned into a long answer. So maybe start with my own website so I have control, then branch out with a specific social media platform, which links back to. Yes, I would say so. I would have your home base. I would build your home and make it a fortress so that anybody can go back and read it anytime. And then you've got to advertise that your house is open. So view those social media platforms and other content verticals as advertising. And, post your comics on there, post your comics on Webtoons, post them. Some people connect it to Patreon, some people connect it to Substack. And I've actually been thinking very hard about putting mine on Substack. Just because I know Webtoons, that window has kind of closed for, they've got their mode that they're going in. And their mode is kind of K-drama, anime style. There was even one that they were advertising that was kind of almost like a Bridgerton anime in comic format. And so they've got their niche that they're going hard on. So I would formulate that plan, then start making and start doing, and then always have an eye out for things that are up and coming, like Whatnot, seeing how you can possibly take advantage of those new platforms and that free audience while it's free, and just see what you can do there. I would definitely look at places like TikTok and Instagram Reels. YouTube Shorts for a while was giving disproportionate reach. I don't think that's the deal anymore, but I would say probably about 2 years ago, it was a disproportionate amount of reach because they were really trying to push those YouTube Shorts. So, and it's interesting because you can look at a content creator and you can examine their platform performance across different ones. You can go to, YouTube Shorts, and you can see how they're doing there versus how they're doing on Instagram versus how they're doing on TikTok. And, you can see where the most of their audiences are sitting. And you can also usually see a disparity in the attention. Like if they have a huge audience sitting over on TikTok, you're going to give more attention to that TikTok audience versus, YouTube Shorts down here. But if things switch, usually they kind of start switching. But I would just focus on creating the best story, the best product that you can, and then give yourself a time limit on your strategizing sessions on where to put it, and then just go. Start throwing that mud against the wall, see what sticks, and when it sticks, throw more mud against that wall and that spot specifically. You're welcome, Clint. I'm sorry I ramble so much, but there's a lot. And it's always changing, and it's very frustrating too. I won't have snow on there. It'll be a little sparkly, but it's all melting. And another thing is not to get frustrated, because it's very easy to get frustrated too. I would always keep an eye on print too, and keep an eye on ebook versus print format. always keep those in the mix, because there is a very real surge in bookstores again. I mean, Barnes & Noble is opening up new stores for the first time, I think, in a while. I mean, for a while it was you were wondering if they were going to be closing them all. So people are interested in physical media again. And I don't think the physical media interest waned, quite frankly, because I could go on a whole rant about that, having media that you rent and never really own, even though you paid for it. I mean, that irritates me about the streaming service. You buy a movie and all it takes is, Sony saying, yeah, no, we're not going to honor this with Amazon anymore, and your movie's gone. Same thing with Steam. You buy a game, but if you read the legalese, it's really only a rental. And if that game goes off of Steam, you've lost your game. So it's just, I don't think I'll ever get off the physical media wagon. It's just, the convenience is nice, but Rim, hello, welcome to the stream. Hey Dee, Barnes & Noble opening new stores. Yes, I know. It makes me so happy too. And because the new stores are just so nice. They took, I think it was about a little bit over a year to remodel the one near me. And it's such a treat to go in there. And it's laid out in a way that makes you want to explore. And I remember that Borders kind of had that a little bit. And it's almost like the best of both worlds, I feel. They've got this, and a funny thing about this specific store is that they shrunk their footprint quite a bit, but the store feels bigger. They had this end cap on on kind of like an outdoor mall strip. So they had a bunch of different, things there, and they had what amounted to the end 2 units in this section. Well, they chopped off the end, the corner, and they just took this kind of little bit right here. But the interior of the store seems just as big, if not bigger than before. And it's really curious to me how they accomplished that with what they did. But it really is a brilliant remodel on all of these stores if you haven't seen a newly remodeled Barnes. Borders, I still have, oh my gosh, if you remember when Harry Potter, I believe it was the 7th, it was either the 6th or the 7th, they handed out these trust Snape, it was basically you trust Snape or you don't, these little bumper stickers. And I trusted Snape, and I still have my trust Snape sticker somewhere. It's somewhere in a book somewhere, because probably a Harry Potter book, because that's where I would have put it. But yeah. And I love Borders so much. They were so great. And they had, what I really loved about them was that they didn't, it's like they had a buyer for the design section that liked design, that was interested in art, that was interested in the creation and mechanics and how-to of it. Because I felt that their design, art, and how-to sections were far better than Barnes. Barnes is doing okay-ish, but I still feel they fall a little bit short on some of those. But yeah, I really loved Borders for that. I would spend hours in those sections. Thank you for taking time to answer my question. I've been inspired. Oh, thank you so much, Clint. I'm so glad. Yes, I agree. There's a lot. I've done video production and photography for the last 20 years professionally. I've always wanted to own my own comic. I think it's time. Yes. See, that, you know what? I find that sometimes you get ideas that are stickier than others. And I think it was it Big Magic, I think, by Elizabeth Gilbert. She describes it as, not so much like ideas are a muse, but they, if you don't, some of them, if you don't serve, if you don't actually take the idea and bring it to fruition, it will go to somebody else. And, but there are some ideas that just stick with you. And I've had some of those, gosh, for years on short stories or books that I've wanted to write. Nothing to do with Be Cute, nothing to do with anime. This would be like YA fiction, you know, dragon books or something like that. Ideas that have stuck with me for years. And ideas like that, that have that stickiness, that still pop up every now and again, I think those are ones that definitely should be honored. Once you realize what's happening, like, hey, this idea has stuck with me for so long. There's got to be an idea, a reason why that this idea is still here with me. Maybe I can give something uniquely interesting, or just not, you know, I wouldn't say uniquely me, but uniquely, I don't know, creative, or I don't know, something unique to you, that this idea has stuck with you for so long that maybe if you give it to the world, it would be something different and special. But I was searching about Pen Tablet recently. I guess that's why I found you in feed. Can you help me? Sure. What questions do you have, Harim? Like a gift shop? Yeah, I mean, if you look at the new Barnes & Noble layouts, they definitely have the gifting section a little bit more aesthetically pleasing and laid out well, and in more of a flow with everything else. Tastefully appointed, I guess, is what I would call it. It feels like in the old build outs that they just stuck a bunch of kiosks in open spaces and filled it with toys or filled it with whatever, and it wasn't really designed with thought. It was just, we got to get this product out on the floor in some way, and here it is. And so you're just like, okay, I feel like I'm in a, you know, just a discount store or something. It didn't feel very well done or well thought out. And I think that probably reflected in their sales of those items. Yuan, oh, H64OP, how is this model? I guess you're a professional in this field. Oh, okay. So I'm going to give you information based on research I had done that's a little bit out of date. So keep that in mind. As far as I remember, I work on a Wacom, and I got this one. It's a Cintiq 24 Pro, and I got it, I believe, in 2020. So it's a little bit, I mean, it's stuck with me. I have no issues with it. I did research into Huion. I researched into XP Pen, and the biggest problems I heard people talk about were the pen distance. Like, apparently, I think it was Huion. Don't quote me on that. It had a thicker glass. So when you physically would put your pen down on the glass, there would be a physical distance. Now, only you can measure and know how much that will bother you or not. It may be a non-issue. If so, that's great. I would definitely consider that then. One of the personal issues that I had to rank higher, and that eliminated a few tablet options for me, was the fact that I need this eraser. It's so integrated into my process that I pretty much knew that I would not be able to adjust to doing key switches. I would it's just faster and easier and more efficient for me to flip this over and erase and then continue. So that eliminated a lot of things like the XP pen and I believe the Huion at the time, because they did not have the eraser on their stylus. Only Wacom did. So that kind of locked me into a Wacom tablet. Now, if that's not a concern for you, then awesome. Again, you will have a lot more options that are a lot more budget friendly. And that's my best advice on deciding on a tablet is you, whoops, bring that forward. Let me just group these together. Make a spreadsheet of the things you personally need and that matter to you in a tablet, and start listening to reviews. And if they start going off on tangents, like this tablet, I listened to a review and I listened to actually several. And the dude on this specific one had just, I don't know if he was just very tuned to tablet noise, fan noise, but he just complained incessantly about the fan noise. And I was like, oh shoot, because if that's true, I stream and that might be a problem. And so I went into other reviews with that in mind. Nobody talked about it. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. Maybe this dude just has his screen dialed up all the way. And that's what's causing the fan to run more. And sure enough, that's how it worked out. I think I've heard the fan on this thing maybe once in the 6 years I've been using it. So keep that in mind. Always operate and judge these reviews that you're looking at against the things you personally need. Because all of these reviewers are, going at that with their personal needs in mind too. Because like maybe somebody's going to use the tablet for more of an animation pipeline as opposed to a raster, Photoshop digital art pipeline. Those are very different beasts. And keep that in mind when you're watching those reviews. Like I recently found these interesting pen tablets. I do esports style designing. Hope the brushing and just be more smoother with a pen than a mouse. Yeah, I would definitely say if you're doing more. Okay, so that's interesting. I would possibly consider tablet iPad-based apps as well. If you're doing that, you can get a lot, and you can also, that's another thing. How much do you value mobility? Because this setup is not mobile, not in any sense of the word is not mobile. This thing stays where it is, where it was put. This desk has stayed where it is. I can't really do this anywhere else. My solution to that is the iPad. I have an iPad. I don't use the Adobe apps on it, but I do use Procreate, and I have some mobility that way. So that's another big key thing. If you need mobility, if you work in coffee shops, if that's your work style and flow, then definitely consider that too. Because a lot of these tablet options like this, the Huions, the XP pens, are not mobile. That being said, there is a new Wacom product. I believe it's the Move Ink Pad. It's like as thin as an iPad, and it's pretty snazzy from what I've seen. That could be an option, but it's also a big budget option. So, I mean, kind of, again, look at how you work. Look at where you work. Look at the space you have. Look at the space you don't have. And then start eliminating. Because one thing that I remember very clearly when I was looking at tablets was it's just the selection is overwhelming. Even back then when Wacom was kind of like the only option and everybody else was kind of trying to catch up to them. I think the options as far as budget and technology have probably closed that gap. But again, I haven't looked at tablets in years, so I don't have a lot of current knowledge on the models and what's available out there. But my intuition is that a lot of these companies that were kind of nipping at Wacom's heels have gotten closer to eating their lunch than not. Hey, Sarah, welcome. I missed the beginning part. Oh, welcome to the stream. I use a Wacom Cintiq 24 Pro. It's not the touch version. I figured I wouldn't be using that. The first one I tried was the 13 HD, and it was a really, really good tablet. And it was kind of my, I believe at the time it was 700, and I don't know what their current equivalent on their line is. The last time I looked, they had Wacom 1 and one by Wacom, and they're two different things, it just kind of... I have a Wacom and a Huion. There's a parallax on the Huion, but it does have an eraser on it also. Oh, nice! It's brighter than the Wacom. I like both for different reasons. Ooh, very nice. Clint, yes. If you have any other pointers for Hareen, post them in chat, because I have no experience with Huion or anything other than Wacom. All right, All right, now we can finally get to this one. Yay! And all of the, I'm going to just do a tiny little bit of snow, and then in these guys are going to be popping out. Oh, I need to change that. Boop, 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 boop. By the way, what are you doing? I am making a comic. This will be tomorrow's post, and then I'll be starting on Monday's post. Oh, the kitty. Yes, her name is Coconut. Let's see if I can get a big stretch. She's probably too sleepy for a big stretch right now. Oh, oh. Oh, big stretch. No, little stretch, medium stretch. Medium stretch. She is, do I have? I don't have any. Hold on just a second. Oh, you can see her right there on my BRB screen. The orange, the cat with the orange ears and orange face, that is who this character is based on. She is based on Coconut. And then Momo Cheat, she is unfortunately no longer with us, but she was a mixed kind of a brown and orange and white tabby with 4 white socks. So that's who she is based off of, this brown cat here. And then I have quite a few other characters as well. Aww. What's your bunny's name? I'm gonna soften these guys. All right, let's get these guys fixed. Come here. And we're gonna darken this up a bit. And I'm gonna put some dirt in that pot too. Erase the snow. I always wanted a bunny as a pet. Storm. Aw, Bun Bun, that's cute. That's sweet. Oh gosh, almost midnight where you are. Good grief. I'm from Texas in the US. It is about 1:33 p.m. here. I usually do my streams around starting somewhere around noonish my time, Central Time. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, I usually go for an hour and a half-ish, 2 hours. Thursdays are always comic days if you want to see more comics being made. And Tuesdays are pretty much a kind of a pop-up day, I'd say. It's whatever I need to work on. He's super cute, but loves to get up to nonsense. Oh no! Oh gosh. Cables, yes. Oh, this is going behind. Bring this in front and let's put we need to make our little sprout. Stem. And maybe I'm gonna do another little sprout here, just because. And we're gonna do another little sprout here. I don't mind at all, Hareen. I yap too, in case you didn't notice. Yes, I do freelance, but this is my main. I have, let me see. Oops, sorry, Beanie. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you. I know, I'm sorry. Good grief. I've done 6 books, well, 7 if you count Life of Pug, of comics, and I post. In the past, up until recently, I've taken a little break. I'm only doing a post per week. I was doing 2 posts per week. I'm trying to get back to that schedule. But I have the webcomic. I have a shop with plushies. This is my most recent plushie right here, is Momo Cheat holding the strawberry. And she's got a little heart on her tail. And then I have, let's see, Pudge the Pug. He is a writer-philosopher, so he's holding his journal. And there's this curly pug tail right there. What's the name of my comic? The collections are called The Book of Cute. I've been thinking about changing it to Cozy Town or Cozy Town Comics, just because that's so much easier and easier to communicate. But the company itself is called Be Cute, and so everything kind of follows under that umbrella. I'm gonna group these guys together. And I'm gonna bring in here, and we're gonna go for green. Spring green. I am so excited to switch my palettes from winter to spring. I love winter. I love all the seasons, but I love spring. It's so bright and fresh. All right, let's do a little bit darker. I'm gonna maybe ish over here. A little bit too dark, but I'll add it. Sorry, my phone died. Had to get back to my... Aw, welcome back, Clint. I don't physically make the toys myself, but I have a manufacturer that does. And they are a wonderful, wonderful one. I've been working with them for 10 years now. I think I started with the original Momochi Cupcake plush, and that was 16. All right, so we have our nice little green. Maybe trying to think, do I want to have a tiny little drop of snow? I definitely want to have some grass down here. Oh, thank you so much, Sarah. Aw, thank you. I'm glad you like the artwork. If you want to see more of Coconut, she gets a lot of airtime on my stories. So I'll oftentimes walk in and, you know, she'll be just in a funny position, or she'll be sleeping on top of Tuxie, and that'll go into the stories. I also post when I give her new grass. She likes cat grass, and she goes nuts when I give her a new batch. Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and let's do some grass down here. Just a little bit. Oh, really? Okay. Oh, I think I need to increase my point size. Did I make it super small? I did. Whoops. All right. And let's do a little bit more grass popping up over here. And let's join all of these guys together, because if I don't, I'm going to lose it. And a group. Drawing experience is about the same though. I did have to purchase a stand for it separately, which added to the cost, so it put me out about... Oh yeah, is that the Huion you're talking about? Wacom Cintiq... Oh, I missed this, okay. I have the Wacom Cintiq 16, and I like the drawing surface on it. Opposed to the Huion, which has a smooth glass screen. It does have a covering that you can put on it, but lowers the brightness. Interesting. So it's kind of like... on the iPad, they, what is it called? Paper-like or paper something? It's like a screen that gives you a paper feel that you can put on. Is that, I guess that's similar? That has a bit of grit to the drawing surface, which feels nice, but it comes off too easily. I wonder, does that contribute to the wear on your stylus tip? Oh, take care of him. Sleep well. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, the stand was separate on here too. That's something that I was watching. I don't remember who I was watching, but they were kind of griping about how often they had to replace the tip on their stylus, and I'm like, I've never had to do that. I'm like, are you just grinding your stylus into the tablet? I mean, what are you doing? But then I see, oh gosh, there was this person that, oh my God, it was one of the, not the screen tablets, the Intuos line. And she had beaten that thing, and it was like bowed, and you could see like the scratch marks in the middle of it. I mean, that was a testament to the build quality that it still actually worked, but like, damn. Y'all need to be a little bit more gentle with your stylus and your tablets. My older Wacom came with yeah, mine the 13 did. This one didn't. Where it did it? Did it? Well, it came with a little clippy that goes in the top, but it had like a drum that you stuck it in, and then it had the extra nibs in it. I want to say mine came with the extra nibs and this, the little colorful washer thing, but it wasn't like, you know, this is where you put it. They wanted you to clip it to your actual screen, which I don't mind because that kept me from losing it many a time, even though I managed to lose it anyway, because sometimes I'll just put it on my keyboard. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm gonna do a little sprout growing out of the brick, and he's gonna be smiling. I like that. I think it's how hard you press on the stylus to how much wear there is. Yeah, definitely. Like, some people have a death grip on their stylus. Oh, it would make more sense to have the sprout coming out of the crack. Unfortunately, I wanted to put it here, but I'm gonna just draw it here. I need my liner color. Oh, that's too big of a sprout. Just gonna itty bitty sprout. We're gonna group you. And we're gonna add a green. And we're gonna drop this behind. So yeah, I thought I was gonna get a lot more done on this stream than I did. Oh my god, look at her belly. Sometimes, oh! Sometimes she gives me a big stretch. Not today. But you get a lot of kitty belly on this stream. All right. Well, for Pete's sake, draw in front. Gonna be a happy little wall. Come on, come on. Nope. Not gonna let me. All right. Yeah. Maybe Wall is happy for the sunshine. Maybe I'll do sunshine kind of streaming down. That could be cute. That could be cute. Let's do sunshine streaming down, and let's do sparkles around everything. Because why not? And let's do sunshine. Sunshine. And now let's just draw a couple of rays of sunlight, just kind of, whoops. Do something like this. Ah. I'm going to go up like this, but I'm going to erase this a little bit. There we go. Make these a little bit. I'm going to need to make this a little bit more contrasty. A little bit of the grass peeking out over here. A little darker. And now let's go in here and let's blur, 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 blur. Where are you? There we go. All right, that'll do. But now let's bring it in. I think I need to put just maybe a tiny little bit of snow that's still... Oh, really? I thought I extended my, okay. Why is it cutting off here? I thought I extended it. Interesting. I changed that to like much larger. Why isn't it fixing it? I know that's what's doing it, but why aren't you adjusting your raster effects settings? Changing these settings will break the link with graphic styles that are applied to images. In addition, changing these settings may affect the appearance of current. I know. I want the settings to change. Well, now it's disappeared. Well, nope, it's still there on that one. Still there on that one. Okay. Am I in the wrong one? I think I'm in the wrong one. No, I think that was right. I fixed this on the previous stream. Why are you still showing a bounding box around my... Something with appearance. I fixed this on the last one. Why isn't it working now? I need to have the leaf here. I forgot that. But I want to open up my other file. Because... yeah, see, I fixed it here. It's not happening here. What's going on here that's not happening in my other file? 70. Transparent. Okay. So... 70. You're still bugging me. And why aren't these settings sticky? Why do am I really gonna have to change that for every single one? Did I change the DPI as well? All right, let's open this up. 72 RGB transparent, nothing, check 70. Okay. RGB 72 PPI, transparent, nothing, check 70. Why are you doing this? Let's do something outrageous and let's just like put it at 250 or something. See if it changes it. Still there. Okay. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 70 pix. I'm gonna reapply these. Let's trash this. And let's trash this. And let's trash that. Now, oh, I wonder. I wonder if that happened because I applied the effect in a group. All right, now it's behaving. Whatever. All right, last thing I need to draw is the little leaf. I need to grab that. I did not. I grabbed all of this. I grabbed no blur. All right. All right. That's this comic done. I was thinking I was going to have more time to do the other one. So, simple plan. I guess I can sketch this out real quick. Oh, and what you see here, whoops, let's close that. What you see here is when I do a comic, I'll come in and do this separate set of artboards. This is for Instagram and TikTok. I'll export these artboards separately so I can do a panel per swipe. And so that's what this is over here. And then I'll add a call to action, and then maybe a product shot, like if there's a like in this instance it's a floof, so I'll do the floof plush right here. I've got ones for Evil Landlord, Coconut, Pudge, and then Momo Cheat. I haven't made a Momo Cheat yet. Need to get that in there, but then I'll do the call to action, which I need to change this soon because it's about springtime. Then they just change for spring. So that's the final, and then this is for my thumbnail on the website. So I'll come back and I'll split that out and do that later. Simple plan. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to be so I'm going to have, what is the 3, 2, 1. I'm just going to do a quick layout on my frames here. This is the rough sketch stage. So the comic you watched me put together is an outlier. I don't usually do comics this way. I usually start like this. I have a rough sketch, and then I come through on the sketch, and I'm going to draw these two out. I need... This will be about right. Let's center this group. Oh, it's already centered. All right. On this one, I will need probably a little more room up here for dialogue. And then here will be the final. So here, I'm going to have EL. And then I'm going to do a speech bubble that goes over she's going to have her little basket here. She'll have her little basket here. She'll be looking for some apples or something. And it's going to be here. We're going to see the other end of this, and Granny Bear and Boop. There's the apple. She's going to be talking. Have her evil. I'm going to try to include this like a, not a transformation scene, but like her signature little evil coffee hour plotting moment. Plot, plot, plot. Now she's going to go grab all the balloons. And then she's going to grab all of the decorations. And let's see what else. back some other stuff here. And then on this final one, we're gonna have Granny Bear and Boo, and then be like, thank you so much. Like, look at what I did. All the balloons everywhere. It's gonna be like all the balloons. And we're gonna have this dialogue, and I think Boop can be right here. So that, I'm going to go through and group all of this. So when I'm doing a comic, I usually start with this rough sketch stage. And let me actually open up a comic that's finished. Well, more so, these are all kind of not what I usually do because they're wall comics and I have templates for those. Surely I have a new, yes, here we go. All right, so this is a different one where you can see, so this right here is my sketch process for this comic. And that's what I just did on this. It's the rough sketch. I'm laying out the frames, I'm laying out the action and the characters, and just roughing that out before I go in to do final line art. And I'll just go frame by frame after that, and I'll do the line art, get all the line art finished, and then I'll go through and do color. So I kind of operate in batches. And it's just easier for me to do that because I'm not switching between thinking about color versus thinking about line art. I can just focus on each frame as I'm going through. And that also helps me keep colors consistent, I think. And again, here is the artboard variant for Instagram. That's my sketch, that's my thumbnail. And this is also the print view that I do. I'll take this and pretty much it will go in as it is here. And also that's the view that goes on the website, one page view, I call it. And that's what I post on Twitter and Facebook as well, but you can see that in here. Sometimes if it's really, really long, like usually I'll have 3 frames, like 3 rows, and that will fit and read nice at this size. But anything more, it gets kind of small, and then I'll cut up that page to be more than 1 page in a printed version. Uh-oh, her heat went off. But that's, you know, you can kind of see the process. There's step 1, step 2, step 3. And this will be for Monday, because I figured I had to set up spring arriving with showing the snow melt and things starting to grow again, and then we can get to Spring Bear's good morning party so she can wake up and truly usher in spring. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Sarah. Yeah, this I have a few characters that are like this. Gordy the Pumpkin is another seasonal character. He only shows up around September, October, kind of in the fall Halloween time period. Spring Bear is oh, that's Pudge. What do I have? Another Granny Bear comic I can open up. Give a little. Oh, that's a different one that doesn't have Granny Bear in it. but she's kind of like a, I have a couple different panda bear characters, and they just change the color of their ears. Granny Bear is pink, and Spring Bear is green. And so her whole thing is she takes care of the greenhouse. She's got a little bit of magic where she helps things grow. But Spring Bear goes to sleep in the winter, and she hibernates, and she wakes up. When she wakes up in the spring, the flowers start growing. So that's her little bit of lore. And so I try to do a Spring Bear Good Morning Party comic each year around the turn of the season. Do you have all the stories planned out, or do you choose them as you make them each week? Yes. I like to have them planned out. When I do, that's awesome. But usually I don't have that much organization, so I'm just flying by the seat of my pants usually each week. This particular one had a little bit more planning because I had the idea for this to usher in spring when I did those previous two, which were Snow Company. This was a winter comic, and Stampede was another one. So this was the same wall comic, but with snow, and the characters came in and they did the little snow floofs on top of there. And then later I did, where is it? Stampede. And this is, oh, that's Granny Bear right there. So Granny Bear and Lady Boop the Ladybug, they get an ideas. They pass by the idea wall to make a new dinner. And then I have kind of a running joke with the floofs that they're always listening for Granny Bear cooking in the kitchen because they love her food and what she bakes. So whenever she mentions cooking anything, they always come running. So that was the joke here. And but then I had, this one was a little bit later in time, so that gave me the idea, well, what if I show the progression of the snow melting as a way to bring spring in? So that was a little bit more planning on this one. But I do have series that I have written out. Like I have Cooking with Momo and Coco, where they're doing different things. It's kind of like a cooking live stream setup. And I do write those out a little bit more in advance, but I've run out of writing there. I also have a book where I have a lot of ideas, and I've also gone through all of those ideas, so I need to write more in there. But yes, I do. If I'm being good, I write, and I have a stable of ideas that I can draw from. But if I haven't been writing, I will go through those ideas and I will have to come up with it on the spot. So it's a little bit of both. But I think that'll be it for me today. I'm going to go ahead and shut the stream down here. And let me see. Let me go over to my ending screen. There we go. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I will be back on Tuesday with some more drawing stuff. If you want to see comics again, be sure to tune in again next Thursday. I'll be drawing again, probably Friday's comic, maybe if I'm ahead of schedule, something else. But yeah, thank you, Ariana, Sarah, Clint, Dee, all of my lurkers. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday, a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time.